This is Dan of Vagabond Awake, the YouTube channel for Vagabond Buddha. Today I'm going to show you videos of Kampot Cambodia as I discuss why many feel it's the best place to retire cheap in paradise. But don't take notes. Everything I say is in writing. Just click the link in the notes below this YouTube video to get Kampot Cambodia, cost of living, livability factors, best area to stay, cheapest flights, walking tour, things to do near Kampot nightlife, and Kampot life and food, and facts and history, plus our best retire cheap in paradise locations in the world. Can you retire early for $1,000 per month in Kampot Cambodia? It is possible for some, but you would need a savings buffer in case of emergencies. We just completed our visit to Kampot Cambodia, and I agree with what many others are saying about Cambodia online. I met a European who was living here for 800 US dollars per month. We met another expat that's living on less than that, which I discuss further below, but most people would require more. However, this is not a place for the average Western style consumer. The simplicity here would be unbearable for some. There's a new movement of people around the world pursuing a different kind of life, a life of freedom. The movement is called FIRE. FIRE is an abbreviation for Financial Independence, Retire Early. The main idea is that you learn the secrets of living frugally and you save a portion of your income, a large portion. Living frugally opens doors that many will never consider, understand, or attain. Frugality teaches you that living with less may actually give you a better life. You're not so burdened by spending time working to pay for things. You'll learn the power of experience over the clutter of things. This alone would be enough for me. But frugality will also reward you handsomely with time. Once you teach yourself how to live cheaply, you begin to see how you can afford to retire early. That will encourage your perfection of frugality. You'll be able to retire much earlier than most people. Once retired or semi-retired, you'll have more time to spend on experiences instead of things. Travel is one of the experiences people seem to love when they're no longer attached to things. Today I want to add another tool to your FIRE knowledge. Did you know that there are places in the world where you may need less, even less than you thought, to achieve financial independence and retire early? I travel around the world and report on the best retire cheap in paradise locations. I've been to 65 countries. I left the United States 12 years ago in 2007. I know all the best places in the world to live the FIRE life sooner. I've created 50 plus retire cheap reports worldwide, links provided. I agree that Cambodia is one of the cheapest. Now let me explain why many people have already decided to retire cheap in Kampot Cambodia. Okay, Kampot cost of living. One guy we met was paying $100 per month in rent for a one room with its own bathroom. He said that he eats every meal in restaurants. His utilities were another $50 a month. He averages $2 per meal in Kampot. At 3 meals per day, and that's eating in restaurants by the way, that's $6 per day in food, or $180 a month eating in restaurants. He said he uses about $20 in gas for a used scooter he bought for $300 US. He said he drinks way too much beer. The draft beers in the bars along the river cost about 50 cents US. He drinks up to 5 beers per day. That's $2.50 per day, or $85 per month in beer. If you do the math, you'll see why he is able to live on less than $500 per month. Now, I'm not suggesting that you live this way. I'm just giving you an example of someone on the ridiculously low end of the expenses scale. Personally, I would want a 1-bedroom with a living room and a kitchen at a minimum. Those start at around $250 US per month with utilities of around $80 a month. I wouldn't need all that beer, but I would like to go to nicer dinners a few times per month. I would probably buy a used car instead of a scooter, so that would cost a little more. Plus, I would want to travel at least 6 to 9 months per year to other places around the world. Okay, there's a table on the web page. It shows cost of living, and the table covers rent, whether it's in a hotel or hostels or an Airbnb, plus food in high-end restaurants or neighborhood restaurants and food carts. And then there's no buses or subways here, but then some taxi rides. And it ranges for a low, for a backpacker type, to someone like myself who spends a little more but still frugal and lives in a one-bedroom apartment. And the table shows from about $400 per month to $800 per month. This estimated cost of living for 1 month for one person as a temporary visitor. It only includes, as I say, the rent, 2 meals per day, and local transportation. I have oatmeal for breakfast in my room, so I don't count that. For a full understanding of what it costs you to live here, you'd have to visit numbeo.com and add any items you spend money on, the link provided. Now, I'm not guaranteeing these prices. These are just my notes and estimates from the time of my visit and this post. And this table is available. Just click the link below the video. Your costs will likely be drastically different depending on the lifestyle and the time since this post, although the inflation is not really much of a factor here these days. And there's a free report you can also read about how to use the table. You would need to decide what your life would look like and any additional expenses you would have to add to the estimate, and add those using the resources. We all have different needs and wants. You would also need to do an exploratory visit and see if you would be happy here. Finally, you should have some savings set aside in case of emergency or in case you decide to move to another country later. Many international expats live in several countries during their retirement. Many expats, before they fall in love with the place, as I say, they'll live in several countries. Personally, I love to travel and explore, so I'm not ready to settle in one place yet. If you buy anything using our links, such as flights or tours or accommodations, you'll pay nothing extra, but we'll earn a small commission. Your kindness will encourage us to keep making these travel guides and videos. Okay, Kampot livability factors. You should consider your own personal livability factors before deciding whether you should visit Kampot. If it looks feasible for you, you should do a site visit and verify whether or not you can retire on $1,000 a month in Kampot, Cambodia. Okay, so here are my livability factors. Walkability, high. If I lived in Kampot, I would not need a vehicle at all. I would walk everywhere. If I bought a vehicle at all, it would be a cheap car or motorcycle used to get out and explore the countryside once a month or so. Internet, medium. We had a few issues with the internet while in Cambodia, but it was mostly based upon how far our room was from the router in our hotel. I recommend that you buy a 4G cell card for $1 and add a 20 gigabyte of data for $2 to your Android. That worked great as a hotspot for us when too many people jumped on the router or we were too far from the router. This was the key to working all over Cambodia on our computers when we were sharing routers and needed to control our bandwidth conditions. If you lived here, you would have your own router in your apartment, presumably, and there would be no issues. Food, high. This is where Kampot excels. Since so many foreigners have called this home, there's a diverse bunch of food choices, foreign food choices, especially for the size of the city. You'll have to pay 30 to 80% more to have your food cooked by a foreigner in a restaurant, but it is nice to have the option when the mood strikes. Plus, the foreign restaurants are not as expensive as in larger cities in Cambodia, such as Phnom Penh and Siem Reap. Even better, you can find local food restaurants for as little as $1.50 US per meal. Check out the Kampot Cambodia food video and restaurants listed below. Weather, high, average highs. that's daytime, range seasonally from a low of 87 Fahrenheit or 31 Celsius in December to a high of 94 Fahrenheit or 35 Celsius in April. Average lows, nights, range seasonally from a low of 70 Fahrenheit or 21 Celsius in January to a high of 78 Fahrenheit or 26 Celsius in April. The rainy season is May through October, when at least some rain falls in 18 or more months, or 18 more days of the month. Things to do, medium. Think small, silky, breezy, hippie town with a good choice of restaurants and a cheap, easy life. Plus, we found at least 5 bars that had 50-cent beers on draft in frozen mugs along the waterfront. Make sure to check out the music in O'Neill's bar on the waterfront, though the drafts are $1 there. You're on a river with all that implies. It is fed by a large lake in the mountains above. Check out my Kampot walking tour and things to do near Kampot videos for more information on things to do. Okay, social considerations. Medium. Many would say high for a small town of this size, and that is true. But I will say medium for social considerations because I'm from a small town and I prefer more happening around me than this. Check out a great little online magazine for Kampot, link provided, and see for yourself. Most foreigners will call Kampot the best place to live in Cambodia. Expats. High. The communications between expats online is relatively high for a city of this size. On the day I searched, there was a Facebook page for both English and German speakers. These are great places to ask locals very specific questions that only a local expat would know. Medical. Medium. There is an NGO-run hospital in Kampot with limited services. Depending on what treatment is required, they may just stabilize you and transfer you to one of the 2 major hospitals in Phnom Penh, links provided. Both Bangkok and Ho Chi Minh are just a short flight away if you need to see a specialist that's not in Phnom Penh. I would rate both of these as high, meaning Bangkok and Vietnam. I've been to hospitals in both of those, and the international hospitals are high in terms of quality. Visa requirements. For your exploratory visit to Cambodia, you can obtain a visa upon arrival at the international airport in Phnom Penh and Siem Reap. If you use the e-visa program, it can only be used for entry through these 2 airports. If you intend to arrive through one of the land border crossings like we did from Vietnam, the e-visa will not be accepted. At the land border crossing, you'll need to fill out the forms again. In either case, bring the passport photo with you to immigration. There are 10 countries that must get a visa before they come to the border. Link provided. The tourist visa is 30, and the 30-day period can be extended for an additional 30 days for $50. If you're planning on staying longer than 60 days, then get an ordinary visa from the start. If you are 55 or older and no longer working, I suggest getting a retirement visa or 𝐻𝐅 visa for 6 or for 12 months. The 6 or 12-month 𝐻𝐅 visa is multi-entry. I haven't obtained the 𝐻𝐅 visa myself yet, but I was told the requirements are minimal compared to other countries in Southeast Asia from someone who gets one every year. There are also student visas, employment visas, and business visas. Link provided. Okay, real estate. This is not professional advice, but I would not buy real estate in Cambodia. If someone recommends that you buy in Cambodia, they probably have a conflict of interest with you. Just lease month to month. The rents are cheap and you can just hand the keys back to the landlord when you're ready to leave. If you want to own real estate, buy it in a more economically safe country, i.e. the US, Europe, Canada, and live off the rents in a cheap country like Cambodia. Hire a property manager to manage your real estate while you're out of town. Banking. This is not professional advice. Leave your money in your home country bank and take money out as needed using your ATM. When you are in a foreign country, it's much easier to get into a mess than to get out of one. If you want to store money outside your home country, don't put it in a developing country bank. Put it somewhere safe, like Switzerland or any of the others. Pollution. Don't swim in the river downstream from polluted or industrial areas. The government does not monitor or control water pollution to any significant degree. Also, don't swim in the ocean near large cities for the same reason. The air quality in Kampot is generally moderate. Okay, Kampot overall desirability score, medium. Kampot doesn't really excel in any one category in my mind as compared to other places in Cambodia, other than possibly international foods. But it somehow just grows on you. It's not as isolating as 𝐂𝐻. It's not as loud, dirty, or full of prostitution as Phnom Penh. It's not as small town as Battambang. It's not as touristy or as expensive as Siem Reap. I would live in Kampot for 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year. It is my first choice for retiring in Cambodia, but it's not my first choice in the world. Check back in about a month when I will tell you the best place in the world to retire cheap in paradise in 2019, or 2020 I should say. But first, let me tell you a few more things you should know about Kampot and Cambodia in general. This is Dan of Vagabond Awake, and if you're enjoying this video, could you please subscribe, like it, comment? Any of those things would help us in the search rankings and improve our business, so I can get enough money together to buy her a new pair of shoes. She has holes in the bottom of her shoes.
No, I don't.
Please help us. Here are a few suggestions about the best area to stay in Kampot and suggestions for a few places we stayed in. The links are all here on the webpage with an explanations of who each link is designed for. There's a hostel, cheap hotel where we stayed. There's a step up if you want a really nice place to stay in Kampot and want to spend the money. And there's a suggestion for an Airbnb and a rate you should ask for if you make an offer to an Airbnb host. You should probably stay in an Airbnb for a full month to verify whether or not you would want to retire early for 1,000 US a month in Kampot, Cambodia. You could also verify how much cheaper an apartment or house that fits your needs would cost if you rented it for 1 year instead of staying at an Airbnb. Okay, cheapest flights to Kampot. We almost always get our cheapest flights on Skyscanner, link provided. They have a web crawler that's constantly looking for the cheapest prices all over the world. However, we arrived in Kampot by bus from 𝐂𝐻, Cambodia. We paid $3 per person, including luggage, for the bus. We used the $3 bus company described in this article, link provided. You should consider the scenic ferry described in the article also. Links provided. We're traveling on the ground as much as possible as we move through Southeast Asia. We are on a 1-year retirement tour of Southeast Asia. To learn how to travel the world for 80% less, click the link provided. Okay, Kampot Cambodia walking tour. Watch the video of our Kampot Cambodia walking tour. The video is on the web page. And if it looks fun, there's a interactive Google map here. You can just click the map and go on the Kampot walking tour. It's interactive, so you can add anything that sounds interesting to you or remove anything in the video that you're not interested in. And there's a short explanation of each spot on the tour on the web page. And so I won't talk any more about that. Just come watch it. Things to do near Kampot, Cambodia. In addition to the Kampot walking tour, you may want to rent a scooter like we did and just go out and check some of the interesting things in the countryside around Kampot to get an idea of what it would be like to live there. If the video looks fun to you, same thing. There's an interactive Google map, just click it and go. You can rent a scooter for about $5 per day. We rented the scooter from our accommodation for $5 a day, links provided. And just go on the tour. It's really some beautiful countryside and things to do, and well worth watch the video to see if you're interested. Okay, Kampot Cambodia nightlife. There's a fairly diverse nightlife in Kampot Cambodia. There are a bunch of expats living in Kampot, and they all seem to be allowed to work in their own businesses, unlike in Thailand. If this video looks fun, click the below interactive Google map and start the tour. The map's interactive, just like before. Just remove anything you're not interested in and start walking. Kampot Cambodia Food and Life Experiences. In this video, we show you all the restaurants we ate in, what the food looks like, and what it costs. And it's just our favorites. We only list restaurants if we love them. The video of all that, plus links to each of the restaurants on the webpage. Just click below. Okay, Kampot Facts and History. Here's some interesting facts about Kampot Cambodia. 30 minutes inland from the Cambodian beach community of 𝐂𝐻 that we showed you last week is a river community called Kampot. Like in 𝐂𝐻, you'll feel like you have gone back in time when you arrive in Kampot. After 3 months traveling through Vietnam from north to south, we crossed the southernmost border from Vietnam into Cambodia. It felt like a time machine has transported us back in time. Everything is more relaxed and easy in Cambodia. It felt like our clocks had been dipped in molasses. We settled into the slower Cambodian pace and without thought or objection, just lower stress and easy living. That really means something because Vietnam was already going at an easy pace as compared to many other parts of the world. The first thing you notice is that people are not using the horn on their motorcycle faster than a teenage gamer. The next thing you notice in Kampot is the smell of marijuana in the air around you as you walk about. Street drugs are illegal in Cambodia, including marijuana. If you don't end up in jail, it's because a policeman wants a bribe. I recommend staying away from anything illegal when you travel. You just don't know the nuances of the criminal justice system in the foreign countries. You'll also notice the Colonial Era Architecture in Kampot City Center. Next, you'll notice all the foreigners wandering about speaking French, German, Spanish, English, Finnish, you name it. Kampot started as the main trade port for Cambodia in the 19th century. It remained so until trade shifted to a newer port, allowing larger ships in Kampong Som in the 1950s. Kampot now attracts tourists desiring a more authentic, slower pace, and it delivers heartily. If you're considering early retirement, a gap year, or a gap life, you might not be able to find a more relaxing place. There are over 100 relaxing hotels, hostels, restaurants, and assorted hidden gems to explore, not including all the natural beauty you must explore here. Final thoughts? If you're interested in the subject of present moment awareness, my videos on that subject are available at a link here. Please subscribe to Vagabond Buddha or our YouTube channel to watch us move around the world. 65 countries so far. To find out what members-only prices and benefits are available, watch this video on the webpage near the bottom. This is Dan of Vagabond Buddha. Thank you for your interest in our retire on 1,000 USD a month in Kampot, Cambodia. The world is your home. We have 4 videos about Kampot Cambodia: Kampot Life and Food, Kampot Cost to Retire Cheap, Kampot Old Town Walking Tour, Kampot Nightlife Tour, and things to do near Kampot. Click the link below this video for access to all the other videos about Kampot and 50 other Retire Cheap in Paradise locations around the world. Thanks for listening.